Hello, my beautiful friend. Welcome back to another episode of Meant to Bloom podcast, where we talk about real life motherhood struggles and we talk about the simple steps to a brighter, more abundant life than mine. Your mental health is so important. Your happiness is so important, and it's within your own reach. I'm here to walk with you on this journey to the life that you're meant to be living, full of peace, joy, and love. And yes, Mama, you can have it. I'm your host, Brittany Clarkson, and I am so glad you're here. Okay, today, before we dig in, it is October. Let's do the housekeeping again. Um, if you're just tuning in, it is getting to the very end of October. October is Depression Education and Awareness Month, and I have been going hard telling you everything I know and have learned and have researched and have newly discovered in my new round of research about depression and its treatments and just how to live with it and be okay. And how to put that into your motherhood, your mom life, and to amplify motherhood, even in the midst of a depressive episode. It's all about gratitude. It's all about grace. It's all about so many of these things. And I hope you've been keeping up on these podcast episodes this entire month. I think we started at episode 120. We are now into episode 129. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Today I want to talk to you a bit about stress. Wow. Yeah, this affects everybody, right? Even if you're not, what is it? Plagued by, I don't like the word plagued. I don't even know how to talk about depression anymore since my mind's been all changed up. I don't know the right lingo about how I want to approach that conversation as far as talking about it, because I know that I do not say I am depressed. I don't say, because depression always had this connotation of sadness, and I didn't want to say that I am sadness, didn't take that into my identity. But now we've been talking about the newfound research that is a lot of it's indicating and kind of getting into the controversial topic of depression might be classified as neurodivergent. A lot of people in the community of psychology are starting to classify depression as a neurodivergence, which means it's part of your brain and how it works. So that's interesting. So it's something that you don't try to get rid of it. You have to learn how to cope with it. You have to learn how to live with it. It's a part of you. And so I'm kind of up in the air about how I want to describe that, because I used to say struggling with depression, fighting with depression, plagued by depression. And that's not really the case anymore. Living with depression, I guess. Coping with depression. I hope they come up with a new name for the clinical depression where it's just how your brain is working and it's not accompanied by the sadness. It's just these episodes of depression, which may or may not include sadness. May or may not. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see where that comes when we come around to this again. I will keep you all in the loop on my findings and that, even when it's not Depression Education and Awareness Month and we go back to the just motherhood with mental illness, with burnout, with stress, and trying to live a slower life, slower, fuller life. Sort of leaning in towards the ideas of simplicity and sanity, balancing the two. So we will see where we get to as the year winds down and new content ideas are coming to me, and I am refreshed coming out of this depressed episode. I feel new ideas already starting to generate, and I'm already starting to want to create new stuff, which is exciting because I'm switching out my platforms, and you know that everything is on an epic sale right now. If you've been listening to all my episodes, I've been trying to remember to mention the epic sale that is happening. All of my principles are expiring off of Etsy. I think I'm down to 7 things now left. It's definitely winding down, and those are 75% off now. So I think you can get everything in my Etsy store for less than $5 right now if you bought the whole lot. Yeah, that's how cheap it is. It's just closing down. And my Teachable, I'm switching that platform where all my courses and my digital downloads are held. They'll be moving. Some of them will be going away forever. My signature courses, I will keep growing them, and I will keep re-recording certain things sometimes. I do have big plans for those to grow more, but I'm not going to have all of them available on Teachable anymore after November 11th. So those are all on super sale right now. My 2 signature courses, Unblock Your Joy and Love Your Home, both very highly focused on practical tips, easy to do, like do it today, sort of getting your life together, organized sort of tips, plus a lot of mindset work and reframing the way you look at things. And those 2 courses, Love Your Home and Unblock Your Joy, are both only $33 right now. They were at one time priced at $188 a piece. Right now they're $33 each. Or you can get the entire Happy Mom Method for $79, which the entire Happy Mom Method is both of those courses. So that's $66 right there. I mean, it's already like a $400 value almost. But for $79, you can get the whole Happy Mom Method, which is going to be everything that is currently on Teachable. It's got the Happy Mom Brain printable. It's got Unblock Your Joy. It's got Love Your Home. It's got all of the different guides and downloads, some printable planners, printable journal prompts, printable affirmation cards, all sorts of stuff is in there if you get the whole Happy Mom Method. Anyways, that is the housekeeping. That's what's up. October, Depression Awareness Month, big epic sale going on. You don't need any promo codes. It's just all marked down already. Anyhow, aside from that, I want to talk about stress today. And stress, like the greatest stress management to me is learning simply to let go. All right. I heard a while back that stress is the new cigarette. One of my kids is playing their recorder. I don't know if you can hear that. Stress is the new cigarette. And I could not agree more. That is such a great way of describing what stress really is. And how it shows up in our society right now. I mean, if you think about cigarettes, like right now, most people, I feel like our perception of cigarettes has very much changed. And it's like, ew, gross. No one wants to smoke. And if you smoke, you're trying to quit. Like, it's not cool to smoke anymore. We all know it's not healthy. It's not good for you. We all know what it leads to. But there was a time when smoking was really cool and it was rebellious and it was like everybody wanted to do it. But it was addictive as well. And, soon we found out there's a lot of negative health, there's a lot of negative health, not benefits, not negative health benefits, negative health repercussions, consequences, whatever, from smoking. So the general consensus is smoking's not cool and it's not healthy. But at a time, it was cool and super addictive. And I think stress is the new cigarette for sure, because we all know it's not healthy for us, but it is also addictive. And also, in a way, we think it's really cool. I feel like we like to have conversations where we talk about how stressed we are and how difficult things are. And it's like we're trying to connect with other people by sharing how stressed we are. And we're trying to kind of one up people. Like, do you ever do this where you try to one up someone with your level of stress? And be like, oh, well, I'm even more stressed than you. Let me tell you about everything that's going on in my life right now. My level of difficulty in motherhood is more than yours. Like I'm working way harder than you are right now. My life is way more difficult than yours right now. I feel like we do this. I do this with my husband. We get in a competition like this all the time, and I have to stop myself. He'll come home, tell me how hard his day was, and I just rebuttal with how hard mine was. Like, well, mine was harder. I had three kids were puking today. Whatever. It's like you try to one up each other, like, oh, my day was harder. Oh, I'm more tired than you. Oh, I'm like somehow that's a badge of honor to be more busy, to be more stressed, to just have more going on. To have the life that sucks the most is somehow supposed to make us cool. I don't know. I hope that I'm not. No, I'm not saying I'm not the only one who feels this way. I know I'm not. I've seen other people do this. You might not be aware enough to admit it yet. You might not be willing yet to admit it. But we do this as people, as humans. And I think a lot of it is that we're seeking connection. But seeking connection by complaining it's really not the best way to go about it. And stress, it's addictive. Once you're stressed, you want to be stressed. Have you ever experienced this where you've been living in this survival mode, just a state of constant stress for years at a time, maybe? Um, you're still like on autopilot and everything is just stressful every single day. And you're living that, hustle and the grind and all of that. And you're just working hard every day, maybe even harder than you have to sometimes. And you're not allowing yourself rest or break. And then you try to do nothing. You try to be at peace. You actually get a moment of peace and you feel completely restless and uncomfortable. And suddenly, like, you need to create drama in your life because there's just not enough going on for you. You're like understimulated now that you don't have stress. Has this ever happened? This happened to me when I started decluttering. I was so used to everything being like just this constant chaos everywhere. I was used to always being behind on my daily chores. Like, I was used to not being able to keep up on dishes and laundry. And once I finally put in a system, I decluttered the extra and I put in the system so that like it was easy. And my body was like, oh no, we can't do this. It can't be easy. We can't let it be easy. It has to be it has to be more difficult. Where did my stress go? Like, I'm uncomfortable being comfortable. I'm uncomfortable without the stress. I need that stress in my life because it's an addiction. Stress is addictive. It's hormones inside your body. It's not just like the need to be doing more and like the pressure of needing more. And like I think there's a psychological need for the stress too, where you feel needed and you feel important because you have so much going on and you're just so like stretched thin. And it makes you feel like you're just this super cool badass because you're doing so many things all of the time. And you're juggling 100 balls at once. um like somehow it makes you less than to have a moment to relax. Like, if your life's not hard enough, you're unworthy. That's not true. It's absolutely not. But I know, like, if you feel this, if you're wondering why every time you start to get your life together, you suddenly backslide because you have this your body is panicking and it's telling you we can't have it easy. It needs to be difficult. And so you backslide to how it used to be. And you intentionally like sabotage your own peace and joy. I've been there. I get it. That's normal. That's a normal reaction. It really is. And like the sad thing is that we crave that stress and we're so eager to put it back in our lives so that we can then go ahead and complain about it again instead of just pushing through and getting comfortable with being comfortable, getting comfortable with letting things be easy, getting comfortable with peace, right? Like I'm really excited that we're heading into Christmas. Like, it's almost Halloween now, so it's basically Christmas. Peace and joy and comfort, like the comfort and joy, the peace and love, and oh, it's so my vibe, and I want it all year long. Like, I just want Christmas in my heart all of the time. Like my heart is just wrapped in twinkly lights. That is what I see in my mind's eye is Christmas is just true love. Um, and I want it all the time, all year round. Peace, love, joy, comfort. Um, can we please seek those? Can we please make those important in our lives? Can we please be intentional about having these things in our everyday life? All right. We live in a world that is so focused on just going and doing and buying and building and earning and spending and growing. And it can become very difficult to just be happy where you are right now with what you have right now. All right. There's always more, more, more. And complacency is often frowned upon. Sometimes it's even feared, right? Even in the spiritual and the self-help and the personal growth industries, I see it there too. Like, stopping the growth to just be comfortable existing, it can feel like you're wasting your time or even like you're just failing altogether. Like you're just not good enough if you don't keep going all of the time. And that's not true. I think it's just important not to backslide. Don't go backwards. Um, it's okay to grow slowly. It's okay to take a break. It's even okay to decide that you're good enough right now and you don't need to continue to improve at all. Like, you can be good enough right now. You can decide that because you already are. And that's the beauty of it all, is that your life is up to you and you get to decide your own limits and you get to decide when to let go of the stress and the hustle and to just be okay where you are right now because you are already enough. You're already enough. Like you get to decide the life you're living and you need to be happy in your own life. And if that means you need to grow more to be happier, excellent, do it. Do the work, take action. Action leads to your character, right? Action leads to habits, leads to your character. Take the action to be who you know you're meant to be so that you can be happy where you are. And if you already have the capacity to be happy right now where you are, you don't need to keep growing. Focus on that being happy now, being okay with where you are right now, right now. And then, whatever happens, happens, right? I want to talk about doing this as a busy mom because we don't really get the opportunity as mothers to we don't get the opportunity to just sit and do nothing most of the time. A lot of the time there's a lot we need to do. So I want to talk to you about becoming mindful as a mother. All right. And I have 3 tips on how to do this. So mindfulness, this is like just being present and being aware of where you are right now and being actually like here right now. Stress keeps us looking in the future. It's anxiety. It keeps us, pre-planning our own failure. It really does. Stress is worrying about tomorrow instead of being here today. And that is truly like the key to happiness. I mean, I don't know, they always said like depression was about being sad about the past, and it's really not, because we talked about it all this month. Depression it's how your brain works, and sometimes sadness isn't even part of it. But there is something else. There's something else that can go on that can lead you feeling regretful and I guess guilt. Guilt is being stuck in the past, right? Mom guilt, mom shame, feeling the guilt and the shame. That is all about wishing you could change what already happened. Feeling bad about things that already happened, And anxiety is stressing about the future. It's pre-worrying about things that haven't happened yet, right? So if you're caught between the shame and the anxiety, the guilt and the anxiety, that's not a happy place to be. If you can be here now, that is happiness. Happiness only exists right now, right? Your joy is now. And there's 3 ways to really kind of get into this mindfulness, to let go of the stress of what's coming, the guilt of what's already happened, and just be here now. And as a mom, these are my 3 go-tos. All right. Journaling on gratitude. It doesn't take a lot of time. You could do it after the kids go to bed. You can do it in the morning before they wake up. You can do it while they're screaming in your ear and jumping on the couch. Seriously, you can. You don't need a quiet space to journal about gratitude. You can sit there and you can just take a notebook. You can pull out the notes app on your phone. You can focus on gratitude right now, wherever you are. You're driving in the car. Make a mental list of everything you're grateful for. It doesn't take a lot of time, and you can multitask it. It doesn't take a quiet space, not like a deep meditation. You can just sit there and think about the things you're grateful for. It doesn't even have to be pen to paper journaling, but I think there's a lot of power in pen to paper journaling. I really do. If you can do pen to paper journaling in a quiet space, that will make a huge impact on your life. But don't shy away from gratitude because you can't take that time, right? If you don't have that time, if you can't find that time, if you can't find the motivation to take that time when you have it, just be grateful here and now with whatever you're doing. Anytime you feel stressed, start building this reflex of meditating and thinking on gratitude instead. Anytime you're feeling worrisome, whether it's anxiety over the future or it's guilt over the past, go into gratitude instead. Just think about the good things. Look for the glimmers. If you look for good things in your life, you look for things to be happy about and appreciative about, you're going to find them and you're going to start noticing them more often. There's a lot of power in that. And I could talk forever on gratitude. I really could. Um, but I'm not going to take up all your time today talking about gratitude because I also want to tell you about grounding. Um, Grounding practices to get into the here and now can be really important. And one of my favorites of those is deep breathing and earthing. Seriously, if you take a minute to just step outside barefoot, put your feet in the dirt, in the grass, on the ground, and breathe in 3 big, long, deep breaths of that fresh outdoor air. It is like pushing the reset button for me. That is something that it keeps me going. It clears my mind. It resets my attitude, and it sets me up for success to walk back in the house and handle things the right way. And I could talk a lot on earthing and grounding and breathing. And we have talked about a lot of these things already, especially in the last month, because they are really great for your mental health and just for rebalancing like your body's chemistry and your nervous system and like the electrons in your body actually. They balance out when you're barefoot in the ground outside because we are part of nature and we belong in nature. And one of the worst things we've done as humans is try to remove ourselves from nature. A little dirt never hurt. In fact, it's actually good for you. Uh, that's a topic for another day, really. But finding something that really just kind of pulls you into the here and now. There are a lot of grounding practices, things like the 5-4-3-2-1 method. That actually gives me anxiety because it gives me too many things to do and to focus on instead of just pulling everything in and just letting it go. That makes me focus on too many things at one time where it's like, you tap into the 5 senses. It's like find 5 things you can see, find 4 things you can smell, like whatever, or 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you could taste, something like that. And it gives me anxiety to do that. So I don't talk about that method a whole lot. So yeah, it's totally normal if some of these grounding practices and anti-anxiety practices actually give you anxiety. That is a normal response because we're not all built the same. We are all different. We all require different things. And so that's why I try to talk about so many different things. But the third thing is to be mindful as a mother is really like your kids. Like when you're a mom, your kids are super important to you. They can also be one of the biggest stressors in your life. So reframing how you look at them with gratitude, just kind of getting grounded into right now, being, push that reset button with a little pause, a little breath, a little fresh air, and then intentional quality time with those you love. Taking the time, even when I'm super stressed, if I just take a couple of minutes to do something with my kids, even just connecting with them, like holding them for a couple minutes or watching TV with whatever they want to watch right now for a couple of minutes. Sometimes I just take my oldest kid really likes to connect by putting his forehead to my forehead. And so we'll just hold each other right there, forehead to forehead for like 5 seconds. And that kind of reconnection it's good for everybody in the house. It really is. And sometimes we just get so caught up in the home care and the home management and, opening snacks for the kids all day long, making sure that they're brushing their teeth, that we forget to actually connect like that one-on-one, even if it's just for a moment here and there. Play a game with them, read a book to them if you've got the time. I understand that sometimes we don't have the time or motivation to do a lot with our kids. That's why sometimes you just gotta, give them a hug and just feel that heart-to-heart hug for 1 second and let that be enough. Because sometimes your kids need to go about their busy day. Sometimes you need to go about a busy day. I get it. But really, like one of the greatest ways to overcome stress is shifting the way you view your stressors. And as a mom, I'm not afraid to say our kids can be one of our biggest stressors in life. Like they're a big responsibility. They are. Like as a mom, it's your job to care for them and to nurture them and to grow them and to feed them and to bathe them. And, like then you add in cleaning up after them. Like they track mud in the house all day long. I get it. You constantly have to wash dishes, but like something to eat off of. You have to go grocery shopping because they ate all the snacks again. It happens. I get it. But we have to be careful that we're not becoming resentful of our kids because we're viewing them as one of the greatest stressors in our lives. We have to be intentional and honest. The honesty of saying, my kid is what's stressing me out right now, is what gives you the power to be intentional about shifting the way you're viewing that. Because if you just keep pushing that feeling to the side and saying, no, my kid's not a stress, I love my kid, instead of addressing the fact that you're stressed about the things your kid is doing, you're stressed about the results of whatever your kid's doing, like the tracking mud through the house. Sometimes it takes reprogramming the way you view mud in the house. Sometimes it takes reprogramming the way you view your role in the house. Sometimes it takes reprogramming of the way you view your child. And you have to sit there and you have to be intentionally grateful about your kid so that you're not getting into that resentful state. Because then what happens when you start to feel resentful of your kid? You get a ton of mom guilt because you're not connecting with your kid and you feel like nothing you do shows them how much you love them because you're actually disconnecting yourself from that feeling of love because you're tuning into that feeling of resentment. And then you've got all that mom guilt in. And what happens? You get shame. And then, it leads to the feelings of depression and anxiety. You feel like you're a bad mom when you're not because you've been doing so many things for this kid. You're just lacking. You're lacking, it's that first domino that start getting knocked over. That connection, that intentional quality time, being grounded here and now. Because you're getting into the guilt, you're getting into the anxiety. You're forgetting to be grateful right now for everything you have in your life, and you're getting focused and pulled in and sucked into that stress of more, better growth. How can I do more than I'm already doing? How can I show everybody that I'm worthy because I'm doing enough, right? It's all interconnected. But the thing is, you have the power to decide. You get to decide in your life if you're going to choose peace or pressure. You get to decide if you want to focus on the peace and the love and the joy. As cliche as it sounds, as lame as it sounds, are you going to choose ease? Or are you going to choose to continue that addiction to stress and that cycle that keeps you bouncing between guilt and shame and anxiety and stress? Or are you going to choose to be here now? Choose that now you are already enough. You are already good enough. You're already a good mom. You're already a good wife. You're already a good woman. You're already a good everything. You're already good. You're already enough. And you get to decide if you're okay with pushing through to get comfortable with comfort. Can you get comfortable with ease? Can you truly start to believe that you are deserving of rest already? You're the keeper of your own life. You get to choose how you spend your time. You get to choose if it's going to be easy or if you're going to keep stressing. Are you ready to let go of the stress? It's that easy. And I know easy feels stressful. Easy feels scary. But easy is worth it. Because when you let go of the stress of all the little things and you let the little things be easy, those big things, the really beautiful things, the really important things in your life, you get more time for those. And I think that's really our greatest asset right now is time. Are you willing to let go of the lesser important things? Are you willing to let go of the stress in order to have more time for what and who you actually love?
Hey friend, are you feeling like you are struggling with this daily battle for your sanity? Are you feeling like you've lost yourself, like you're just in the chaos, like there's not a moment to enjoy yourself? Mama, I feel you. In June of 2020, I almost ended my own life because I was stuck in bad mental health habits. And I let everything get to me. I really did. I was making dinner and the kids were being really loud. And I had not been taking care of myself, so I let these negative thoughts seep in, and I convinced myself that I just shouldn't be there anymore. Luckily, I was saved. It's a long story. Long story short, I decided that day that I was going to make a change and I was going to do something different. And that took a lot of work and it took a lot of commitment. But what I did is I learned how to become mindful in my life. I learned grounding practices. I got into new healthy patterns. I started taking care of myself so that I could show up for other people. I started believing better things about myself. I started becoming worthy because I decided I was worthy. I stepped into the life that I was meant to be living because I fixed my mindset. I decided I wasn't going to be anxious and stressed anymore. I was going to do something about it. I took steps for proactive mental health. I started building bridges over those pits of depression instead of building ladders out of them. And I started avoiding those really terrible negative feelings. I stopped letting my negative thoughts about myself pull me down and hold me back. I started living the life that I was meant for. And I found my voice. I found my purpose. I carefully curated the life that I actually want to be living because I decided I was enough for that life. And all of these practices that I started putting into place, the mindfulness, the intentionality, overcoming negative thinking, overcoming stress and anxiety, using affirmations, getting grounded in gratitude, setting goals for myself. I started creating the life I wanted to live. And I took all of those exercises and I put those into the Happy Mom Brain. And I made it something that can help every other mom out there to find your sanity, to find yourself, to find your peace, to find your joy, to live the life you actually want to be living as a happy mom, because it's possible. As much as I thought that was an oxymoron back then, I have found that you can be happy in your motherhood. And a lot of it stems from knowing what motherhood is and what it means to you and what your priorities are, what's actually important to you in life. Mama, if you want the Happy Mom Brain, there's a link in the description. You can always go to brittanyclarkson.com/happy mom or search on Amazon for the Happy Mom Brain. Love you, friend.